Best trip to the Bahamas ever. We got Dead Sea from 2024. Yeah, if you haven't seen it, spoiler alert, you know the drill. You've been warned. So let's get into it. We have our two friends here, Kaya and Tessa, who are meeting up with some boys that Tessa had met at a party. Julian and Xander. They seem chill enough. Nothing too sketchy. Except that they want to skidoo from Florida to the Bahamas. Now, I believe that's international travel, and they don't have passports, so whatever. Badasses, right? Anyway. Against her better judgment, Kaya agrees to join. Because, whatever, they're there already. So they end up skidooing and having fun, and they get to this island, and there's a beach, and apparently there's like an island where pigs live on the island, and you can swim with pigs or something. One of the two boys ends up explaining that like pirates brought them there one day and just left them, and now they're thriving, and it's like a pig island or something. And there is one very brief scene of a pig swimming in the water, so it's true. There is truth to it. Anyway. Yeah, so Tessa and Julian are kind of paired off together, and Kaya is paired off with this kid Xander. So she's meeting Xander for the first time today. Kind of a good adventure for for a first date or whatever. But anyway, they're on an island, and they're on the beach, and they're kind of catching up. And she's telling him about her life story. Essentially, she's saying like how her mother most recently died, and she's helping her dad take care of her brother and all that stuff. And great first date conversation, and he's going on about how he wants to travel the world and whatnot. So they're bonding, they kind of dig each other. They end up having a little smooch at some point. Meanwhile, Tessa and Julian are beyond that. They're like well into the smooching territory. So they're, I guess, I don't know if they're dating or whatnot, but they seem totally into each other. Anyway, they head out of the island. They're zipping around on their jet skis and whatever, and they're going a little too fast, and they're, Tessa's even saying, like, Julian, slow down, like, you're not even wearing your helmet, like, just chill for a bit. But he's a young boy, and he's trying to impress these girls, and he's doing all these waves, but they hit an extra hard wave, and they bail, and they go flying into the water, and he's laughing, he's like, oh man, that was fun. Unfortunately, Xander doesn't see him until it's way too late, ends up smoking him in the head with the jet ski. So, I mean, you could pretty much assume Julian's dead. Like full speed hit to the head, yeah, you're probably toast. And he can't get out of the way of there's waves, so they're kind of blocking the view, I guess, maybe. I don't know, that's why you didn't see this, like, dead stopped jet ski in the water. But he ends up hitting the jet ski, and they wipe out, too. So, now everyone's in the water. Xander's pretty badly hurt. He's got a big gash on his forehead, and his knee's all cut up and stuff, and he's kind of, like, half conscious. Julian's nowhere to be seen, so yeah, he's dead officially. We don't see him for the rest of the movie, so let's get that out of the way. Despite them looking for him for a while. Anyway, the jet skis sink, so that's great. They're stranded in the middle of like international water, so that's even better, right? I'm assuming it's international. It's in between the Florida Keys and Bahamas, so whatever. I assume there's a stretch of international water in there. I don't know. Whatever. But they're in the water regardless. The open ocean, there we go. There's sharks swimming around and all that. And of course, right away I'm thinking, oh, shark movie. Okay, fair enough. It's not a shark movie at all. I went into this one kind of blind too. I kind of like doing that for movies that I don't know much about. If I haven't heard about them, let's just watch them and see what happens. So that's what I did with this one. Not a shark movie. They end up seeing a boat coming in the distance, an old fishing boat or something. And the gentleman who owns the boat, Ray, ends up pulling them on board and, making sure they're okay and whatnot. And he ends up being a little bit sketchy, but they don't know this just yet, of course. So Kaya's like, okay, like, my friend is hurt. Can you call help or whatever? He says, yeah, I can do that. And he goes into the cabin. Doesn't call help, though. So that's fun. Anyway, Tessa is saying, okay, you know what, I need to go get Xander some water. Like, he's not doing too good. He's, like, sort of conscious, but he needs water. He probably ingested a lot of salt. Like, we gotta get him. So she goes into the boat to go look for some water. she's gone for a while. And Kaya's kind of like, okay, this is kind of weird. So she leaves Xander for a moment to go see what's taken so long. And he runs into Ray, who at this point ends up doing some very, very brief small talk before chloroforming her. There you go. She wakes up reunited with Tessa, and they're in like a storage area. It's like, it's one of those compartments where I think you open it up and then you dump the fish in it or whatever. I think it's one of those, but it's made out to be like, it has like 2 little wooden bed frames and old shitty mattresses and whatnot. And above one of the mattresses in the wood, someone has scribbled help, or like scratched help with whatever they could. So it's not looking great. They're trapped. In the meantime, this Ray fellow, this nice young fisherman guy, opens up the hatch and lowers food and water down. It's like, here you go, take the damn food. And they're like, can we go? He's like, no, this is my boat, my rules. She tries to climb the ladder to get out, and he like yells at her and scares the shit out of her. And he's like, yeah, you got that's a 3-strike rule. 3rd strike, I hurt you. So you listen, you do what I say. Capiche? Anyway, tells them that a doctor's coming. Okay. Kind of mixed on that. Like, you're keeping us hostage, but then there's a doctor coming anyway. What the hell's going on? Anyway, turns out that they have a black market organ stealing ring thing going on. So essentially, the doctor is working with him. He finds people that are stranded or on boats that he captures or whatever it is, and calls this doctor guy in, and he harvests their organs and sells it on the black market. He says something about like a lawyer's daughter's looking for a new liver or something stupid like that. Like, the messed up thing is this kind of stuff probably does happen. Like, anyway, so that's the story. And he ends up strapping Xander to a operating thing and cutting him open and taking out his organs, the ones that are in good condition. And unfortunately, Kaya has been witnessing this through a small hole. I don't know if it's like a porthole or a peephole or something in the wall, but she can see this happening, and she's screaming, obviously, like, oh my god, that's horrible. This guy that she was about to, like, be into, just dead and unceremoniously dumped over the edge for the sharks. So in all fairness, I mean, at least they're feeding the local wildlife. That's good. Didn't look like he had too much meat on him, but, maybe next time they can get a fat guy or something like me. Feed the sharks for a little longer. But anyway, no, that's not funny. Obviously, a kid died, right? So let's get focused and get into the movie. Anyway, that's horrific, right? Doctor comes down and he examines them, and he's like, "Is this the one?" And he's referring to Tess, and he's like, "Yeah." And she's like, "Okay." And he pulls her down. He's like, "Lay down," and looks at her and feels her, and she's like, "My stomach is sore." And he's like, "All right, well, you're probably just shaken up from what happened, and you may have like a broken rib, possibly. So just, relax." And then they go back up, and he essentially says, "Okay, yeah, so like this one's dead, basically. This is not, they're not going to make it, so I can't give you top dollars for this one or the boy that we just did, because they were in rough shape. I'll give you like $5,000." He's like, "That's it, really? What about the other one, the feisty one?" He said, "The blonde one, she's good. You keep her fresh." So I don't know what that means, but I guess he's going to get his money worth for her at least, right? So that's something, not a complete waste of time. Yeah, anyway. Sympathy for the kidnapper guy. So that happens. The doc is basically like, okay, one down, one to go. And they come back and they eventually prep Tessa for an operation as well. At this point, it's nighttime, so they're inside the boat doing it. Now, there's been a hatch that they noticed pieces of rust on the mattress below it, and a little jury-rigged tool thing. And so it appears that one of the previous people that has been captured was trying to break the rust off of the screws of it or something, so that they can push it off. And she manages to do that. She ends up scraping off enough rust that I guess like the grooves in the bolt must have been rusty, maybe, so that's what she ended up breaking off or something, or maybe it was the hinge, I don't really know. Anyway, she very quietly takes it off and sneaks out the top and sneaks onto the boat, at which point Ray comes onto the boat too, so she hides. Ray goes into another room, She can hear the doctor preparing stuff, so she sneaks into that room and looks around, opens a drawer. He's like, okay, there's a small knife. This will be good. Looks on the wall. He's like, oh, okay, there's a fire axe. That'll be really good. Then looks onto the table there. He's like, okay, there's a spear gun. Now we're really cooking with grease here. So she grabs a spear gun, interrupts the surgery about to take place. Tessa's pretty out of it. She's had like laughing gas, so she's basically unconscious-ish, or on the verge of becoming. And then he turns and he's like, what are you gonna do? Seriously? And he starts walking towards her, and Kaya's backing up, and her heel hits something, and boom, trigger. Spear goes right into his chest. He's like, ah! Yeah, that would hurt a little bit. So he's freaking out, and he ends up pulling the thing out, or breaking it off, or something, whatever he ends up doing. And I guess he still has enough strength. It didn't hit any internal organs or anything, because he's able to overpower Kaya and like strangle her. But luckily, this is when Tessa sort of comes to and ends up taking a scalpel off the thing and stabbing the shit out of the doctor. So curtains for the doctor. He's toast. They didn't feed the sharks with him though, so that's kind of a waste of food, but whatever. Anyway, doctor's out of the picture. Ray comes back from having a beer or whatever the hell he was doing, and he comes to see the doctor dead and the girl gone, and he's like, oh, for fuck's sakes. Like, must be a stressful job, right? So, anyway. His captive is loose. He looks, and the little dinghy that the doctor had, it's like a dinghy with an electric motor on the back or whatever, had used to get from his boat to Ray's boat, is still there. So they're not gone. They didn't take the boat. So he's like, all right, fair enough. He stabs the boat, makes sure that they can't take the boat, and begins the search. Looks through the boat, high and low, can't find either of them. That's interesting. And then it zooms out to their swimming. So, yeah, I don't know if that's the wisest choice. I mean, I get not taking the boat because you'll hear the engine start or whatever, but at the same time he sees them and he turns on the big searchlights, spotlights or whatever, and it lights them right up, and he's like, ah, okay, you guys are pathetic. He goes to the main room of what's the cockpit of a boat called? Man, I'm pathetic here. The cabin? Is it the cabin? Whatever. The main commander center where oh my god. Anyway, he starts the boat, or tries to, and it doesn't start. And he's like, what the hell? He's flipping switches, and he goes down into the maintenance area, I guess, with like the breakers or whatever, and he sees it's been sabotaged. So, good move, Kaya. She ended up like cutting a bunch of wires and stuff so the boat can't start. So they can basically take their leisurely time. Fun fact, though, sharks are more active at night, so that's fun. But it's not a shark movie, so there are no sharks. So they don't really have to worry about that, I guess. In the small space of ocean between the Bahamas and Florida, good to know, there are no sharks. So that's awesome. Anyway, they're swimming toward the doctor's boat. Like, he has like a little mini yacht or whatever, and it has like pink lights on it. And it's all fancy, and because obviously you make good money selling organs on the black market, right? I mean, or at least I did. No, I'm kidding. I did not sell organs on the black market because, that'll bite me in the ass later, I'm sure. But anyway, they make it to the boat, or she makes it to the boat after a heartfelt conversation with Tessa. Tessa's still out of it. She can't swim. She has no energy. She's like, listen, go to the boat, okay? Call for help. I'm gonna float here. I don't have energy right now. So Kai's like, okay, I'll come back from you. She's like, yeah, just go. She goes, and she is trying to figure out how to start this boat and can't figure it out. There's like 1,000 levers and stuff, but she sees a radio, so she calls on it, like, Mayday, Mayday, we have girl overboard, one of my friends is hurt, another one's missing, blah, 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 blah. Silence for a little bit. Eventually the Coast Guard responds, so that's good. U.S. Coast Guard services, good on ya. And they're trying to walk her through turning on like a beacon so that they can get her GPS signal and come rescue her. Because without that, they can't really locate her, apparently. I don't know if that's true or not, but maybe it is. I don't know. Anyway, so she finds this yellow beacon thing, and they say basically, okay, there should be like, if you throw it in the water, it'll automatically activate, or else there's like a self-activation thing on it that you can find with like a red thing. And she's looking, and she's like, yeah, it's not working. Okay, well, that's fine. Just throw it in the water, and it'll give off your signal, and we can come get you. She's like, okay. As she's going towards the door, she hears the water moving and footsteps boarding the boat. So Ray has decided to swim over. Determination, right? So this this chain of organs selling people, you know, this should be the employee of the week here. He's going all out, going above and beyond just for like one piece of product. So good on him. He boards the boat and she quickly hides. He, however, hears the radio of the Coast Guard saying, "Can you confirm that you figured out how to do the thing? Like, let me know. We can come get you as soon as, you know, the beacon is activated." So he's like, okay, she's hiding somewhere. So he sneaks out, making her, you know, assume that she's free to get out, and she comes out of her little hiding space or whatever. But he ends up sneaking right around behind her, and she tries to shoot him with a flare gun, but she does not succeed. He knocks her hand and knife in the stomach. So she's in trouble. Pushes her down on a table or a counter or bed or something and is basically ready to finish it. She's in excruciating pain. But this idiot, what he didn't realize is she still has the flare gun. So as he's coming close to her, she like grabs his head, and I don't know what he's thinking. Is like, for a second, I'm thinking like, does he think she's gonna like make out with him or something? Because like she's touching him all tender and stuff as she's dying. Like, what? I don't understand. But anyway, he obviously buys into whatever it is, and he like loses his guard enough for her to pull out the flare gun and fire it right into his mouth. And yeah, that'll kill you. If you don't know, flare being launched directly into your mouth at point blank range will kill you. And it does. So flare's going, he's screaming, and I was expecting something gruesome. One thing that I will say is there really wasn't any gore of any kind in this movie. There's like a little bit of blood, but they don't show like the operations. They don't, they show the knife in her stomach after he stabs her, but they don't show like anything too gruesome. They don't show like his head bursting into flames with a flare in his mouth. They just show the aftermath of like him with like a bit of char on his face. So that's interesting. That would burn the hell out of your face though. Like that's like fire. Like that's what it is. It's like pressurized fire or whatever. I don't know what it is, but it's hot. And not in a Paris Hilton that's hot kind of way. Anyway, she's stabbed. He's dead. It's all confirmed. She has this beacon. They're still on the radio trying to convince her, like trying to get a hold of her. Like, are you good? Like, do you need us to help you more? Like, we're gonna talk you through it. Like, just respond, please. She uses all of her strength to like crawl her bleeding out self to the edge of the boat and uses her last bit of energy to throw the beacon, but she throws short and it lands right on the boarding part of the boat. That's not good. And she passes out, I guess, from loss of blood, and she's tired and all that. So that's not great. Sun rises, and this thing, I guess, has been slowly slipping towards the edge due to the waves moving the boat a little bit. And it falls in the water, and boom, beacon's activated. Is it too late for her? Is our hero down for the count for good? Well, Coast Guard shows up. They assess her, say she's still breathing. They do a helicopter evacuation. There's like a fake out scene where like the monitor goes beep, beep, beep. And it's like, you know, on that steady beep for like a long time, assuming that she's dead. And then she comes back. So that's fun. They end up miraculously finding Tessa too on her little inner tube floaty thing in the water. And they rescue her and she's okay. And they helicopter evacuate both of them to the shore. And then Kaya's reunited with her dad and her brother. And she's just hanging on, kind of conscious. And there's like the whole I love you family thing, and then she's reunited with Tessa, like, yay, you survived too, happiness, and everyone lives happy ever after, and that's the end of the movie. So, I mean, what do I think? Well, it was okay. I know I say that for a lot of movies, but like, it felt like a good way to waste, you know, an hour and a bit. It wasn't wasted in the sense of, oh god, I need these hours back, but it was wasted in the sense of, okay, that killed some time, and it had its moments that were mildly entertaining. So how could this movie have been better? You could have showed a little bit more of the gruesome stuff, like the flare in the mouth. I was really hoping to see something gruesome there. It's like, oh, you've been holding out for me, but now you're going to do it. You're going to do it now, right? No, they did not. I'm not like sadistic and like want to see people ripped open and stuff, but again, for a movie like this, I was expecting to see some of that. Like the surgery on Xander is like completely off camera. Essentially, all they show is the doctor holding up a bag with like a heart or a liver or whatever it is in it and putting it in a thing. So it's, I don't know. They could have done that. The rest of it wasn't too bad, though. I mean, the characters were okay. Yeah, the acting was alright. I mean, it's not like a groundbreaking, amazing movie that you absolutely have to see, but if you can watch it for free and there's nothing else that you feel like watching, and that sounds like kind of a, you know, you're trapped in an escape type movie is up your alley that night, yeah, it's worth a watch. I mean, you're not gonna write home about it or like make blogs about it or create like a Dead Sea wiki or something with all these facts and characters on it, but I mean, it's an okay watch. So what am I gonna rate it? Well, I doubt I'll ever come back to it, so I mean, I got to keep that in mind. There's a kind of cool song over the credits, I guess. That was neat. I don't really remember any of the score from the rest of the movie. I'm not sure if there was one or not, actually, which is silly because I literally just watched it, but go figure. So my rating, I'm going to give it a 5.5. There you go. It's passable. It's not, you know, the worst thing in the world. It's not a fail. But it's not a thing that should have failed that I only passed because it had like a unique thing that I thought was clever or whatever. It was a genuine pass, but just not by much. So there you go. Dead Sea. Watch it if you feel like it. Alright. I hope this helps you're deciding on what to watch tonight. I doubt it. Anyway, take it easy. Bye. You know what? Let's hold on this for a second. I've been putting this off for a long time. I've had it on my list as like, oh, this is going to be the next movie I watch. This is going to be the next movie I watch. But I really don't want to watch it. So I've been pushing it for about like half of the videos I've released up to this point. I've been pushing it. But I think the next movie I review is finally going to be Soul Survivors. It is, well, wait for the review for my opinion. But yeah, I'm not looking forward to watching that one again. This Dead Sea is like a masterpiece by comparison, so stay tuned for that. All right, have a good one. Bye.